The following program is a collaboration between Whatcom Community College and KMRE News. Today's KMRE conversation is with the primary candidates for the Bellingham mayoral race. With 5 candidates in the field, we want to help our listeners understand the differences between candidates by giving each person running for office a chance to answer the questions that are on our listeners' minds. Each candidate was given a total of 20 minutes to answer the same questions. Today, we are presenting all the candidates' responses to one of those questions. You can hear the complete interviews at kmre.org. Downtown businesses have struggled through the pandemic and the growing impacts of our unhoused community. How will you support our downtown businesses?
My name is Kim Lund. I'm a candidate for the mayor of Bellingham. I think it's an absolutely yes-and moment for our community. I've spent a lot of time over the last few months talking to downtown business owners, and it is clear that they're feeling unheard and unsupported. And I've talked to business owners that spent $30,000 last year on graffiti abatement, or tens of thousands of dollars investing in additional private security. And we have survey results from the Downtown Partnership that nearly 40% of our businesses downtown are actively this year considering relocating. And if we lose our downtown core that we work so hard as a community to make investments in, that feels to me like we'll be losing our beating heart of Bellingham. So how can we make it so small businesses feel heard and supported, and members across the community are feeling welcome to go downtown? And at the same time, we have to keep investing in the people that are unhoused or experiencing lack of access to mental health supports or substance abuse disorder. It has to be a yes-and approach in this moment, and I do believe it's possible.
My name is Seth Fleetwood. I'm the mayor of Bellingham. I have been very responsive to downtown businesses. They came to me 2 summers ago and talked about the increased number of sort of erratic behaviors on our streets. And this was in the context of being in the middle of the COVID response. There were lots of restrictions on us in terms of being able to enforce against RV parking. There were just the CDC guidance said leave encampments of certain small size in place. So in the fall of 2021, I gave direction to our police to start enforcing, when some of the restrictions were lifted, to start enforcing those public encampments on sidewalks. So we've seen an improvement there. Downtown businesses indicated a strong desire for assistance, and we provided that. We increased security. We invested nearly $1 million in an ambassador program. We started staffing up with some really creative efforts in our police department, so we're staffing up quicker. I recently proposed to the City Council that we create a new ordinance prohibiting public use of drugs, aspects of which were, I think, incorporated into the state law that was happening at that same time that recently passed. I asked our police chief just in the last several weeks to create a plan to put more police officers on the street. So we now have a program where they can sign up for overtime, and we've got cops walking the beat in downtown Bellingham. We created a graffiti abatement program, a new sanitation division, which is cleaning things up. I'm seeing an increase in things downtown, and we'll continue to be responsive to them. I created a downtown solutions work group to sort of marry the interested business sectors downtown into a more close relationship with my staff so that we can take quicker action to respond to things. We're doing a lot of things, and I've been getting some feedback from folks that work downtown that they've seen an improvement. So we're going to keep working. That's the only thing you can do. Keep working in the right direction and making progress.
Mike McCauley, and I'm a building designer. I'm the owner of McCauley Design Works. So that one's actually pretty easy for me because, as a port commissioner for 8 years, that's pretty much all ports do is support, local economies. Finding a place for the unhoused people to go is really one of the first solutions that you can tackle, and it should have been tackled, and we can tackle it right away. There was a decision out of Idaho that I think scared a few people about, sort of sweeping folks off the street, right? And the court said you can't just kick people out of public spaces unless there's some place for them to go. And with the microhome villages that I'm proposing, we'll have a place for them to go, right? So we can get people off the streets. Part of the new jail, I wish they would stop calling it the jail, but part of the new jail proposal is diversion services, right? So some of that's not services for incarcerated people, but just services, period, for people who are struggling. There's supposed to be new funding for that, so we can connect those people as much as possible. There's a term that's called functional zero, where, and you'll see people running for office, they'll say it all the time, right? We're going to take care of this problem. You're not going to take care of everything, right? You're going to have an outlier in there somewhere. So we do what's called functional zero, where we work our butts off to get every single person, recognizing that we're really just not going to. There's always going to be some kind of an outlier. And every city around the world has this exact same problem, right? So we're not unique here either. It's just how we're solving the problem is locally for us is probably what makes us a little bit different, because we can develop our own systems and our own programs, right? So we do that first, okay? We make sure that the community knows that the downtown is sort of a unique and interesting place. And one of the ways I want to do that is to continue what they're doing, but bring that sort of into the rest of the neighborhoods. It's called placemaking. The Downtown Bellingham Partnership is pretty good at it. So they're doing like the concerts on the streets and some murals and things like that kind of thing, supporting what they do there, especially through the partnership, but also borrowing that sort of activity, the placemaking activities, and bringing it out into the rest of the neighborhoods and the rest of the community. The downtown does struggle, but the city, or has struggled, but the city is pretty big, and it's much, much bigger than the very small, roughly 1 square mile of the downtown. So we need to take that kind of activity and spread it across the city, so there's that kind of positivity everywhere.
My name's Chris McCoy. I am best known locally as the founder of Kombucha Town and the Culture Cafe in downtown Bellingham. So as a downtown business owner for over a decade, I've got likely the most experience and the deepest perspective on what it takes to thrive in that area. And it's something that, again, I think ties in pretty holistically into our community's other problems of the homelessness, the crime, the drug use. I think that a lot of that is something that's a big deterrent for people. Now, there are other, like you mentioned also, the public works, the parking issue. We issued a lot of these permits for these temporary structures to take up parking spots, right? And so making sure that we really refresh and sort of untangle a lot of the work that was done during COVID to make sure that we can restore our downtown core to as a vibrant place as it can be, clean it up by enabling the people that are sort of stuck there due to our currently concentrated services downtown, being able to have other places to go and safer places to go will ultimately make it friendlier. And then from there also making sure to work with the local businesses that are down there to make it more vibrant. I think there already is, and there's a lot of opportunity to increase the amount of tourism here and the value of the tourism here as well, as far as how much of the money that's coming in stays in this community. And so focusing on that's something I've been able to do with my business, as well as there's other federal programs that are actually working on being able to incentivize more innovative businesses, specifically around green and blue technology, newer technologies that have applications, especially on the waterfront too, which is a big asset that right now has been sort of this behemoth and this very slow project that I think everybody sees as a huge opportunity as a way to revitalize our downtown core. And so being able to look at the ways that these different programs and the different elements of the way that running the town as the mayor are integrated, you'd be able to ideally speed that up a bit and make sure it's based on a more cohesive vision that the people of this town have, and not necessarily just developers from out of the country, things like that have already happened, or a recycling company that's also from out of this country that has become a big nuisance down there. And so hyper-focusing on accountability there, making sure it's a safe, healthy, and happy place, and then attracting really exciting new people to that community would be a big priority for me, and work I've already been doing with my own business for over a decade.
Christina Michelle Martins. My title, current job, is the at-large Bellingham City Council member. I think the easiest way, and the one that has not been talked about at all, and as far as the circles that I have been a part to with elected officials or city administration and staff, is a community center. We don't really have a draw for people to come downtown and hang out downtown and build actual community. And so with another community member, we actually have a dream of taking the city-owned location at the bottom of the commercial street parking garage and turning that into a community center. And I think that that will help drive more traction downtown and just create a more lively and vibrant space that will essentially draw more people. More gravity creates more gravity, to actually address the issue of or the crisis of people experiencing homelessness. I have been begging the city and the current mayor to really take a serious look at safe parking sites, and I have been trying to get that up and running honestly since last June, and have just really run into a lot of brick walls in having the idea of it be really undervalued. I get a lot of pushback as well. Individuals living in their cars and RVs, a lot of times they don't want help, or they like living like that. And while that may be true, I think there is definitely a population of the recent those who recently became homeless, with the Whatcom point in time count for this year pointing out that we've seen a 27% increase and a big increase in families who are experiencing homelessness. That seems like such a low barrier step forward in addressing a lot of issues. We get so many council emails about illegal vehicle parking currently, because there is just nowhere else to go. So I think providing a safe space and working in small batches to a certain degree. A lot of safe parking sites start with like 40, 60, 100 open spots, and I think we start small, 12. Let's see if it works, and let's see if this is a new pathway that we can help people exit homelessness, and for that demographic that it will work for. We haven't tried it at all, so we don't know we don't know that it doesn't work. I'm very hopeful that it will work, and it is showing promising signs in a lot of other communities. Again, and then when it comes to specifically addressing people experiencing homelessness of being just around town, again, bulking up our services and the people creating those lifelines to engage with them is the largest and most comprehensive answer I think we have to all of our issues about people experiencing homelessness here locally.
Thank you for listening to this KMRE Conversation with the primary candidates, a collaboration between Whatcom Community College and KMRE News. You can hear more from each of the candidates by listening every day after the 5 p.m. news, or by going to kmre.org.